It's Greg Brown. Tune called Good Morning Coffee. We're having our coffee here at Coop's this morning, as we do on Tuesdays. Koobie's Coffee at the corner of County Roads, County Highways, County Roads B and K, just on the edge of the Lacoudere Reservation. And joining me this morning is a winner. Did you win the Schwamigan Fat Tire event, Tweed Shuman?
Eric, good morning.
Good morning.
I survived the Schwamigan 40 Fat Tire.
It sure did rain.
What an amazing event. Yeah, I awoke to, it was probably 6 in the morning, to thunder and lightning and a downpour. And I knew the course was going to be in trouble because of all the rain that had come so fast. I had ridden the course prior to the event, and we had gone a stretch without any rain there, 4 or 5, maybe 6 days. It was perfect. There were some drainages that they had repaired, and it was hard. The Berkey Trail was good and firm, so I was excited till I awoke to that.
To that downpour.
Yes, because I've done the race in the past, and I've done some muddy years, and it's a beast when it's wet like that.
Yeah, lots of mud. I know everybody at the conclusion was... I remember when a kid, you'd get that stripe of water up your back after riding your bicycle. It was just mud.
Yeah, you can feel it up your back and on the back of your head and on your helmet, and it's actually coming over your head, and it's just crazy. But normally, everyone races up there to put your bike in the gate. You put a bike in the gate kind of to hold your spot, wherever you're slated to start, and then you ride your alternate bike to warm up. That's what a lot of folks do.
Oh.
So, yeah, the gates open at like 6 a.m., and there's usually hundreds of bikes laid in those gate placements, and no one was there because obviously the downpour. So that was kind of a mad rush, but the rain had stopped, and the start was, beautiful. Of course, you roll up Main Street and down Railroad and out on Highway 77, and that's a sprint in itself. I mean, a lot of folks are kind of gassed by the time we hit Hatchery. Me speaking for other people around me, I mean, all the elite riders are ahead of us, obviously. I was in Gate 5, and my son was in Gate 6. Yeah, so it's a sprint to Hatchery. And then I kind of knew maybe what was coming when you enter Rosie's Field right off the highway there. But that was all fairly firm. I thought, wow, we're coming across this field pretty nice, and there have been a lot of bikes ahead of us. But as soon as you entered the Berkey Trail by Hatchery, it really turned to mud. There were just some select tracks you had to try to stay in, or you were sliding all over and trying to avoid the person in front of you who was sliding all over. It's quite the endeavor. So we rode the Berkey Trail, all the way to Mosquito Brook, where we had our first food station. Wonderful people. You would know everyone there. It's just really, really nice to have them there. And then cross Mosquito Brook, and you're still on the Berkey Trail up till the next ATV trail. And then once you got on the ATV trails and like Phipps, Fire Lane, those gravel roads were good. Actually, they were firmer from the rain, so you could make up a little time on that. And then somewhere just past Gravel Pit, we exit back into the Berkey Trail. And that's an ATV trail. There was some mud puddles back there, but you could get around them. And by then, the people have kind of stretching out a little bit. So you had a little bit of a line, but you're still going pretty hard. But then the Berkey Trail from like Gravel Pit to Double O was really, really something. Some of the puddles back there you could not avoid. I mean, we were ankle, knee deep in water, but actually the bottoms were firm, but there was a lot of water in there.
And of course, you're sending spray out to the person behind you, and the persons ahead of you are doing the same.
Yes, and I'm like you, I wear glasses, so that was really something.
Yeah.
So you're getting sprayed by the rider ahead of you, and then, but then we hit, you hit 00, another food station. Very nice people. Back on the Berkey Trail for a stretch. That wasn't too bad because there's a long downhill, north of 00 there. But you had to be real careful because the grass was wet. And you get up some speed going down those downhills. You don't want to slide out. I know some people do. That's pretty dangerous. And then what do? We get back on another ATV trail, which was good. Then on to Janet Road. Janet Road was good. And then you come to what they call Martell's Pothole, which has been improved, I got to say. They've done some work on that, so we could sail through there. But there's some washouts that I know every biker knows about down there you got to be careful of, but that had been repaired and kind of held up pretty well. But then you get back into the mud back there, working our way back to Bodecker.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of congestion, a narrow Jeep trail, 2-trail, grass in the middle, all mudded up. I mean, very few people could even ride that. So if you get people walking their bikes ahead of you, it's hard to get around them, even if you do have traction or momentum to get through there. Then again, Bodecker was good. You can really sail on those gravel roads, Bodecker to Telemark, and then jump on another ATV trail. Get you over to Lake Helene Road, and how scenic that is. Just amazing. I mean, it's just a beautiful ride. It's terrible we have to interrupt it with a race. That's what I always say. And back there with the guys I'm biking with, we're enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just gorgeous. So, yeah, Lake Helene Road, then a little bit of single track back on Telemark. Jump up to what they call Winding Pine. And then you've got the dreaded Fire Tower. Dreaded fire tower. Every mountain biker knows about that. Even in dry conditions, that is a feat to think you're going to climb it. So rarely, a few do climb it, especially the lead people. And other years when I bike the race in dry conditions, I can climb it. But seriously, going up Fire Tower, you're not going any faster than somebody walking their bike.
Mm-hmm.
You've got in the lowest gear. You kind of got to stay in the saddle, they say, to keep your weight on the back tire, or you're not going to get any traction to get up there. You're in the lowest gear possible. There's like 5 really steep climbs. You'll crest one and go down a little bit, and then you got another one. It's just ridiculous.
But you love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like we were talking before the show, I'm, halfway through there, I'm thinking, what am I doing? But I signed up for this, right?
Yeah.
And it was neat, and everybody there, and what a great event.
That finish area up at Telemark, so many people there at the conclusion. Everybody assembled, welcoming in their friends and family and others. It's quite a feat to put on an event like that. A lot of volunteers involved in it, of course, and it is of course a for-profit organization that operates it, but it does a great deal to draw attention to the wonderful trails in this area, and brings people from many, many places to come and ride the CAMBA, the Chequamegon Area Mountain Bike Association trails, and others. Yes, and as you know, sitting on the county board, we address the sales tax revenue pretty frequently, and these events are amazing to the area. Just amazing. And that revenue, we need that revenue. So these folks that come here to do this event, and all the spectators they bring, and the business that comes from it is huge to this area. But yeah, I was gonna say, Eric, you ride so much of the trail. You can tell we're in a coffee shop. Let's see, that's I'm a straight coffee drinker. I have no idea what that's all about, but I get there whipping up some milk. But you ride so much of that trail, and it's so desolate. You have other bikers around you, but you get to Telemark Road, then the Timber Trail. We're racing down Timber Trail. Mm-hmm. Then it cuts off onto some sleigh trail or ski trails back there, to where we get to the top of Mount Telemark, where you finish there.
And it's somewhere back there in that sleigh trail. There's a couple of climbs, but you can start to hear the crowd at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably still a mile away.
Yeah.
But you can hear the announcer down there, and that just drives you. And there's some climbs to get up there, but everybody, you just find it. You got to dig down deep, and you find it from somewhere. They keep going and try to finish with your best time. But yeah, that's a descent too down Mount Telemark to that finish.
Yeah.
So, and by then you're pretty exhausted. Even your arms and hands are, sweating. So you got to be really. I don't want to lose it now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what an event. And what kudos to Gary Crandall and his crew. And
36 years directing that event. This is last year, Gary Crandall.
yeah, what amazing. And I know that he's retiring. Yep, this was his last year. And I actually saw Gary before the race, and I thanked him again. And I mentioned to him I want to bring him into the county board and recognize him. What a great man. All he's done for the community, and what a great race. I also want to mention that we also met Peter Spencer.
Oh, the new.
Yep, he's going to be our new director. I've done some events with him up in Lutsen, Minnesota. He runs that Lutsen 99er and other long mountain bike race events, and he does a class job. I see no problem with Peter, trying to step in. Those are big shoes, Gary's shoes to fill, but Peter and his crew, I think, will do a wonderful job. He's a wonderful person, got ambitious and passion for mountain biking. He may come up with a few little changes with the course or that, but I'm sure they'll be well represented, well thought out, and I'm excited to see what comes. But yeah, that whole crew, that's just amazing.
Well, Gary has been part of this community for nigh on 40-odd years. So somebody new coming in from outside, it take a while perhaps to become acquainted with the very many persons who are involved in this event. But I'm sure that'll happen. I saw a tweet, people riding these big, what I think of as the winter fat tire bikes. I guess they need a little flotation out there. Huh?
Yeah, fat bikes. If you've ever ridden one, you'd want to ride it all the time. They're amazingly comfortable. They move across the ground. With these muddy conditions, maybe that would have been an advantage. I have a fat bike. I didn't ride it. Probably thought maybe I should have, especially on the Berkey Trail. Mm-hmm. I told my son, I wish there were spots on the trail we could swap bikes. Oh. Get your gravel bike when you get on the gravel road and jump on your fat bike when you're hitting the Berkey Trail. Yeah. That would be ideal. But yeah, a lot of people ride those. They do well. People on those big bikes go flying by me. Mm-hmm. I'm like, really? But yeah, it's a great event, and they ride those all winter long. And coming up now, you can switch your tires on some bike frames to accommodate the fat bike tire, and then go to a more narrow intermediate tire for summer and this type of ride. It's amazing what they do now.
Wow. Tweed, I was just noticing, and I know we were going to talk about this perhaps a week or two ago, some earth being moved here in the neighborhood, and of course we also have the paved trail that now, let's see, it'd been in Hayward, a paved walking trail that now extends even beyond us here to the south.
Yeah, correct. Safeways to school, Hayward has done this, these bike pedestrian trails that now is run all the way out here to the casino. Yeah. So through the BIA and Safeways to School, we have implemented and completed our trail from the casino here, and it goes all the way back to our school. Yeah. So what a beautiful bike path. They've got the paving was just completed last week. LCO Development did most of that work as far as grading and prepping the trail, and what a nice alternative. And biking is getting bigger, and I think now that we're connected all the way with Hayward from the LCO school, that's a little bit of a hike, but very doable. I remember I told you I biked from Hayward to the powwow, and we didn't have this trail yet, but I rode my mountain bike through the graded part. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's perfect. It runs just behind the casino here, and all the way to the school, right up Round Lake School Road. Borders looks it's going to be a safe route. It gets our kids both walking and biking off the road, and we've actually got a path now that we can ride. Very important to us. Yeah. Yes, and we've there's a lift station that's just south of the casino, between the casino and the wastewater treatment facility. That lift station has our wastewater treatment facility kind of in jeopardy, not withstanding what the casino produces, and same with our treatment facility. So all of that needed to be upgraded. So very important to us, the infrastructure there. You just consider something like the treatment center or the uplift, or treatment facility, or the lift station. If either one of those were to fail, that would shut down our casino. I mean, think of it. That's a major catastrophe if that were to happen. So we upgraded. That was the digging along K there. They went down, replaced that, made it larger. We replaced the line from the lift station to the new wastewater treatment facility, which is under construction as we speak. They're moving as much dirt as they can right now. Before we get into freeze up, there's several larger lagoons that are going in. That's LCO development has played a role in that, and we're trying, like I said, trying to get as much dirt moved before freeze up coming here. We've also got a very large multi-million-dollar public works building going in back there. They've been housed in this, I call it the little tin shack back there. And we're actually going to combine our roads, LCO roads department, with the public works in one big facility where we can house our trucks and all of our equipment for the roads and for public works in one building. So, of course, I think the majority of our membership knows that some Enbridge money went into that, and I think it's like $1.2 million each year of our Enbridge money is going to the wastewater treatment facility and the public works building. So that's something, though, that we negotiated, and Enbridge was in agreement with, that they wanted to help with infrastructure and anything for it to make the tribe or the reservation more adequate for its needs. So that's part of it. I talked about the bike trail. Well, LCO development is very busy, though. They're truckers and people in large equipment departments stay busy, and they work for both the county and the state in highway projects. We've got very large dump trucks and very qualified drivers. So we work for these other big entities. There's not really always enough going on right here. So we reach outside and
so you essentially contract to do work for others. I can recall a number of years ago, and I'm sure it's happening often, but on my drive into the radio station, I would see 3, 4, 5 Lacuta development dump trucks going by the other direction. I think, well, they're doing some work for somebody.
Yeah, they're working, and we're paying for those trucks, and we're making progress there. And Larry LeSueur and Alan Johnson do a wonderful job at development. They're staying very busy. We're renovating the old Boys and Girls Club. I talked about that earlier, the old roller rink. Our development.
Now, what's that going to become? Tell us again.
Well, a portion of that we've got slated for financial services, which is office space. Of course, they won't need the entire building. That building is huge inside there. I mean, you could play a ball game in there if you've been in there a long time. So, LCO development went in and we demoed and kind of gutted the entire facility. And then we're in the process going to put a new roof on it because the structure is very sound.
Good bones.
Good bones, and we don't want to lose that building, and nothing's really happened there for years. So development's going to put a new roof on it, and we're seeking bids now for the interior work, which is probably a half of it, office space. For financial services, there's been talk of a daycare in one end. We're not sure exactly what we're going to do there. It depends on what funds are available and the need in the community. I think at our upcoming membership meeting, I think we'll put that out there for ideas, what people think is the highest priority in the other building. There's also talk of like a business incubator, kind of what CDC started out as down here to people could go there, and if they have an idea, maybe we could think through it or do a trial run there and see how profitable or sustainable that business might be. So that's another thought. And then within our LCO housing department, we have these low-income tax credit housing project that's coming up, and that's 28 homes on the reservation that are going to be completely renovated. worked and remodeled, bringing them up to standards. We have, there's a lot of issues with as you heard, with the mold remediation project they had too. Some of these homes are really getting run down, and we haven't done the repairs, probably haven't had the money to do the repairs. That should have been kept up on once you own a home or have a home, there's constantly work to do with it. You have to stay and upgrade, whether it be siding, roofing, plumbing, any of these things go, appliances. So yeah, 28 homes are being slated, and LCO Development and their construction team is going to work with Woodstone, which is the project manager, and then even our larger crew that does landscaping and septic systems and drainage. They'll be working on all these projects. So that's slated. I wish it would have started already, but we got to get it underway. And there was, of course, a lot of paperwork and a lot of hoops to jump through with that too, because the funding and then you get some lawyers involved and the investors. And so I think we're there, though. I think Mark Montano met with us yesterday at our governing board meeting, and we passed several resolutions that should put this in motion now. It's going to keep our employees busy. Once we do the outside work, then we can have remodeling and a crew go in and work, most of the winter. And that's what we're hoping too with our financial services building. We can get the shell done, get inside with some heat, and then do your office, whatever they do for construction with office spaces. So that's huge for those two departments. And yesterday we had a very productive tribal governing board meeting. One, I talked to you about housing, Mark Montano coming in and talking to us, and then we had a very good discussion with the Board of Regents from the LCO College. And what a great crew. They came in. I think it's a 6 or 7 member Board of Regents, and I think 5 of them were there, 4 or 5 of them. They do, along with the new president of the college, Mr. Swaggart.
Yes.
And great ideas, well received. They talked to us about current enrollment status at the college and the drive and the push to offer more courses and classes along with associate degrees. And then we're looking at more of these 2+2, bachelor degree programs.
2 years here, 2 years on at a university system school or another.
Correct. So we had a good discussion there. I and the chairman mentioned that we put a lot of money in our budget, both the tribal budget and financial services budget for scholarships. So we're wondering, and within our higher ed department there at the tribal office. So we're wondering with these scholarships, maybe we put some criteria in there that they partially use our LCO college when awarded these scholarships. We don't want to hold anybody back, but we have some great classes there, and maybe some of the scholarship money should go to our own college. That's just a thought. So I guess that...
I have had occasion to visit the college and the library recently. What a remarkable library there is. Just a beautiful facility. And the college, each time I come through the door, I think something's changed, and it's bigger and better and more beautiful than ever.
Yes, it is a beautiful library. And I know coming up in the county board budget discussions is that we fund all these public libraries. And our LCO Community College Library is a public library. So I know Mr. Jim Schlender, who's on the Board of Regents and our judge for our tribe, he's been advocating very strongly for some more funding for our public library, and that'll be discussed at the county board level. Because we support, the Weiss Community Library, the Winter Library, and there's other surrounding libraries that we support through county funds, just because we think they're very important. We don't want to lose a thought of people going to a library. That's a great institution.
By the way, I got passed a note about Trepanier Road improvement. Is there some need?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
My goodness. How long has that been on the inventory list? And get that done. That's slated. Wow, I wish Jason Weaver was here, our Secretary-Treasurer. He's kind of been working with Marie and them on the roads crew, but that is slated. There's other we have to widen it, right? Because it needs to get more daylight, similar to what they did on Peninsula Road and these other roads.
It is an issue with an east-west road like that. Doesn't get much sunshine.
It is, and especially when it's so narrow and you have such tall, mature trees right there. Sunlight doesn't get there, and I don't care how much you plow, there's going to be ice build up there. And, Trepanier forever So it needs to be widened. And then, of course, it needs a new base, a new blacktop, and it's probably one of the highly traveled roads right on the reservation, other than K here, maybe.
Yes.
Think of it. So that's slated. There's other projects. Of course, the parking lot at Kinnaman.
Oh,
That
yeah.
that's all sand, and it's and another thing the elders brought up yesterday was our elder reserve nutrition site. Now, if you've ever been down there, they have a sand gravel parking lot, and if you can picture some of our elders with walkers or wheelchairs trying to navigate through a sandy, rocky gravel parking lot to get to the front door, that's very dangerous. It's just something waiting to happen there, so we need to address those issues, and those to me are high priority. We have to do things like that. I talked about Kinnaman School, and what else do we have?
What about this big grassy area to the rear here, the golf course? Anything happening with that? Is that still in the works? The purchase of
Still in the
big
works.
fish?
Still in the works. I think I spoke earlier about doing our due diligence over there.
Sure.
Yep. We don't want to invest in anything again that we don't think will be sustainable, and we're looking at it very hard. The golf season's almost over anyway, so we just wanted to get all the financials in and just see if that's something that can be sustainable. I know we employed quite a few tribal members over there, which is good, and that's what we wanted to do. They've actually been kind enough to mentor some of our people, like the grounds and the irrigation system, and those are big responsibilities where you have to have experience in that. I'm sure they got different tweaks and things you have to stay up on to run a system like that. So Mr. Bob Holmes over there has been very nice to mentor some of our folks. He's their groundskeeper and part owner over there too. So yeah, it's still in the works. We don't want to jump in there. I appreciate them waiting, and but we have to do our due diligence there, just to make it sustainable.
Yeah, of course.
And then we just recently completed this turn lane, for right on Highway B here. That we needed that to bring this, what they call C2, Koobie's in our gas station and the bank. We need to bring them into trust. And to do that, we had to remove that access road. I think I talked about that earlier too.
Yeah.
So we had to help Hayward Propane, our neighbors there, produce their own driveway. And so that we could put this in trust. That's very important to us, and I think we're in the final stages now of doing that.
That was a very important. Now, I frequently drive that route as often as taking Highway K, and you could be fooled coming south. You might pull over into what you think is a turn lane or a second lane and find out, no, it's only there for a short time. Now you've filled in that space, that gap.
Yeah, which we needed to, because all those businesses are so busy here. You need to have a turn lane just for safety. And Highway B, how busy Highway B is.
Yeah.
My goodness. So especially the big trucks that are getting in.
And the gas company there.
The big gas company, yep. And then the power
Jump
company.
River?
Jump River right there. Those big trucks that you've got to get off the road to slow down and exit. So those are just safety issues. So, of course, we want to do everything legitimate. So
the tribe took care of that. That was...
Yes, it was part of our deal to put this in trust.
I see.
So it was an expense, but something we had to do. We need this in trust to run our sales out of here, and gas, as you know, is a different price here than across the street because it's not in trust. So
I didn't know that.
that is an issue. Yes. So many things
I'll
driving.
keep an eye on that.
Yeah, many things driving this. So with that, I think, unless you have more.
Well, what's happening with Sawyer County? You're on the Sawyer County board. Anything that
Oh, lots.
we should be
We
alert
are
to?
in heated budget discussions, which is very exciting. These are taxpayer dollars that we're looking at and spending and allocating. So it's very important to every committee, every budget that comes in from every department that we look it over. We just implemented again a finance committee, which the county's been without for several years. But these are very good folks that I appointed, accountants and people that have done budgets in the past. And this committee is gathering all the budgets along with our county administrator, Tom Hoff. And we're looking at all these budgets so we can come in with a balanced budget that we can present to the board and the public in our November meeting, which we'll approve the budget. And we're kind of restricted by the levy limits, and we can only tax so much, and you're only allowed so much money. There's a few things that fall outside the levy limit, which are libraries and ambulance and emergency service. So we're able to tax a little more for that, but just budget is kind of front and center here right now. So we're looking for other different revenue sources also. I mean, I hate to look at everything that we have to cut everything all the time. When these are important services, especially within health and human services, there's things there we cannot cut. I mean, you start cutting it there, you're going to pay heavy dividends on the back end if we don't provide treatment and facilities and address this problem that we have, with the drug epidemic and alcohol and mental health. You need to stay on top of that. Those are places we cannot cut. So different revenue sources, similar to our sales tax. We just had this event I talked about earlier. Mm-hmm. That is huge to the county. We need to look at avenues like that. Our forestry and our stumpage. That is something that's got to keep producing for us. They do a nice job, and they bring the majority of the money into the county. Mm-hmm. Those are all, but we're doing a good job. We're not there yet, but we got a great team looking at it. Every county board meeting, which we have one coming up Thursday now, budget is front and center, every department's report. As I mentioned, Tom Hoff, our county administrator, is on it. Our finance person at the county, Mike Keefe, who's excellent. We have excellent people in place there that are watching all these things, and we'll come up with something, and it'll work. And it's kind of, I forgot to mention, through Tribal Governing Board, we are in budget mode right now also. Our fiscal year, as you know, is October 1 through September 30th. So September 30th is coming up abruptly. October 1st, or prior to October 1st, we'll approve the tribal budget, which is for all our departments, and that's another animal we have to tackle. So all the departments, our chairman and the Tribal Governing Board has requested budgets to come in from all our departments now, the casino and all these things that we offer some tribal support, so we need to address all these issues. There's only so much money, right? Our revenue sources are much fewer than the expense list. I think you probably look at that through a lot of budgets, but so we need to come in somewhere, where we can be sustainable and have a balanced budget. That's tough, and we need to treat all of our departments and all of our tribal members fairly. I mean, there's salary increases people are asking for. We need to spread that money out so that the what I call the frontline people, the workers at the gas stations and our grocery store and the casino floor employees, those are the people, in my opinion, that need the bump. I mean, we need to spread that wealth out, which is something when I first got elected, I was not. Well, I was sort of aware of it, but now I'm really aware of it. That there's quite a discrepancy in wages. So we're addressing that, and I have people in support of that. So that's what we're going to look at.
Tweed, good having you in. Thank you.
You too. Thank you, Eric. I'm sorry I went on and on about the fat tire race, but that was amazing.
Oh no, that's fun. I'm glad to hear about that. I watched much of the conclusion of the event up at the Telemark Resort. Didn't so many people. I missed your arrival. I imagine it was very early, wasn't it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have recognized me anyway for all the mud and everything, but until I started to talk. And then what a great Molly and her band were up there playing.
Sure.
They've had them in other years too. What a great. They
Yeah.
really add to the event.
Yeah.
They're great musicians, and
excellent. Excellent outfit. Well, we'll visit again soon.
We will, and I will bring Jason Weaver, our Secretary Treasurer couldn't be here today. He's up in Duluth at a transportation meeting, but I do want to bring him back because he's very knowledgeable and he could add a lot to this, especially what's going on with our infrastructure. We need to address that again because that's very important to us.
Yeah, always very important. Tweed Shuman, thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Congratulations on your victory in the Chequamegon 40. A good showing. Thank you, Tweed. I'm Eric Schubring, and we are at Koobie's Coffee at the corner of Highways B and K.
This
here at
is
Latuda
Bird
Road.
Note.